Hello, my peeps. Tracey here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, friendly neighborhood paper pusher, and loving the Stampin' Up! Kits. I was very much looking forward to this. I saw a sneak preview of this. When did I see it? March during Onstage. They were showing some pictures of it. And even just, in the background of a multi-picture picture, so not a very big like close-up, I could just tell how gorgeous this kit was going to be. I'm so looking forward to diving in. So this is the Beautiful Blues kit, which I should just take them out of the box to begin with. I always struggle with the box. But hey, that would just be smart planning. I haven't had a frog in my throat all day until now. Okay, comes with the Night of Navy stamp swat and a stamp set, which I will show you when I get to the inside and you can actually read it better. Look at the pretty gems. Oh, and they're faceted. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so I like to cut my little piece of plastic, sometimes with a scissor, sometimes with my scoring knife, which actually, now that I think of it, you know what is a much better knife? Is actually the one that comes on the craft kit. It is way sharper than that other one. So here's the thing though. This particular one, they're very close to the edge and I don't want to cut anything. So I know it seems like an obvious thing, but we're just going to tap it down a little bit. And then this is the craft knife, which, yes, it's meant to go on the end of the take your pick tool. I was going to say pick your nose tool. That's what I called it. It's meant to screw in here, but I also find it is big enough. If I'm doing a lot, I will put it on the handle, but otherwise I find it works just fine just like this. So if you get the extra tips and you're thinking, but I don't have enough bases, yeah, it doesn't matter. I use them for all sorts of things. Okay. So, usually you can get an end, and then thankfully this cardboard's here so I don't, there we go. So I don't mush anything as I rip through it like a child on Christmas morning. So because this is from the kit collection and all-inclusive, there's a Stampin' block in it, and this also has some tear and tape. And it's nice skinny tear and tape. I always save these because tear and tape is my absolute favorite of all the adhesives. But you will also notice this is the regular stuff that we get. And sometimes you'll also notice there's a whole lot less in a roll. And this has been used for a bit. There's a fair bit taken off this roll already. But this is about half the size. And so sometimes I want this, but I want it a little thinner, so I love this stuff. So I always save the extras that come in the kit. And a block. Lord knows I got blocks. Okay, oh, and like I said, look at these gorgeous little faceted gems. They're so pretty. And some dimensionals. Some of the large dimensionals. Now, of course, I'm just using the dimensionals that are on my desk. I like to save these little packages to give to people in case they need them. Put in little projects and stuff. But, there we go. Oh, yeah, look at these. Look at how glittery they are. That's because they're faceted. So they're, like a golf ball. Many, many edges on the round part. Okay. Then, seriously, you know me, I love navy. I use navy a lot. Okay, these envelopes are the same. So we don't need to keep all the envelopes out. Or I don't need to show you all the envelopes. I mean, they're all the same. But even seriously, just look at how pretty this is. So you get your card in the mail, and it's got your name and address and who it's coming from. You're like, oh, look, exciting. Tracey sent me a card. And then you flip it over to open it, and you get this little shot of beauty. That's the fun part of doing the flaps. Okay, so taken 3 of these because we have 3 cards and I haven't decided if I'm stamping anything else on them because I haven't looked at the kit yet, so I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to put that there to keep the flaps down. Okay, so this was, I think, 3 each of 3 designs. 3 each of 3 designs. Yes. Awesome instructions. I talk about the instructions a lot today. I'm not going to. And then, so apparently we can get this in English, French, and German. Because you can see what they are. So this is the stamp set. I mean, there's the stamp set, but you can read it on here. So it says, "You're in my thoughts, wishing you comfort and sending love." And then it's got a nice little sprig to it. And so I guess if you were doing this in a different language, you could fold it whichever way you needed to, right? If you needed it this way, just kind of fold it in half this way. So French is at the forefront. English is at the forefront. German. So I'm just going to fold mine in half because no sprechen die Deutsch. I know random phrases in all sorts of languages, but let's face it, some days I barely speak English coherently, let alone anything else. Definitely not German. Ooh, I would love to be able to speak Dutch. When we went to Amsterdam a few years ago, such a pretty language. Oh, we do have some stuff in Dutch. The German I can sort of fake my way through sometimes, do it phonetically, and sometimes I'm close. Dutch was a whole different ballgame, but oh, so pretty. Can you tell I cut my nails last night? I did. I'm having a hard time getting my backings up. There we go. So we'll just fold that in half and make ourselves a little pocket that we can then put our stamp set in. It's just, you know, one more attempt to not lose things on my desk. Though this is way easier to see than the other part. Okay. So yes, 3. Oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, I'm going to be careful because I don't want to wreck that. Okay, so one of the card bases are pretty blue flowers. I think they're all going to be pretty blue flowers. I'm going to carefully line that up. Give it a good score. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, I don't actually know. It goes this way. Then we have some labels. We're going to hold off on the labels for now. Oh, look at that one. See, this is another one of those ones where, as nice as it is to get this card in on both sides, because this one is white on the back, right? It's not, but to get this card and to have this on one side and this on the other side, like on the back of the card, it seems like you really just need to split this into two and have two beautiful cards. And as I showed you yesterday, you can do it one of two ways. You can cut it in half and put it on. Sorry, I'm trying to grab a card at the same time. You just put it on like a piece of white card base. So then when you open it up, it's just white on the inside, easy to write on. Or you could put it either on white or navy or whatever color you're working with and cut this down a little bit and have it as a layer. This card is super pretty. So I'm going to put it on a white card base so that I have two of these and I have extras. So I'll show you that afterwards. And then the last one, same with the last one. I mean, you look at it and you just think it's just blue, but it's kind of this blue watercolor cloud. Oh, it's just so pretty. And I am going to do the same thing with it and cut it in half and make it on that card. So this is how you stretch your kit. And then we have labels. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 of each label, which means there's 1 extra. So these cards that I'm like splitting in half to make extra, some of the components there will actually be extras of. Okay, I have to move these out of the. I got too much stuff going on now. Okay, so this label goes with that card. The little label goes with this one. And the bigger label, now that's not to say we can't change these around, but at this point I'm just randomly making cards, so that one goes there. And I do actually need some more sympathy cards. I'm thinking of U-type cards, so I think that will work well. Oh, look at these things. Oh, are they ever pretty? And they just go over top of this one, so you get like a blue on blue. Pretty. Yeah, that's very nice. Okay, sorry, I just stall sometimes with how pretty it is and distract myself. So this white die cut, sorry, I've hurt my wrist, and something I do, every now and again I turn my wrist in a certain way and I get a shot of pain. Goes on that card, and it takes me by surprise. Can't quite figure out what I did. And this one, this big beautiful thing, goes on that part. And then this blue background, I think is gonna, my guess would be goes behind the sentiment. Yes, it does. Oh, because look at this, the card bases on these cards are so pretty that you don't need much to jazz them up. And that one goes there. And then we have more for the other cards. Alrighty. Piece of cardboard, just in case. Okay, so let's start with the one that I'm not retrofitting. There's our pretty envelope, as I said. Oh, I need a piece of paper to stamp on. This one is quite dirty on the side. Let's see if we can, oh, tape shut in the middle. Not quite sure why that's happening. And we'll just start with a nice clean piece of paper underneath. Oh, that one's got adhesive on it too. We don't want that. Here we go. Another new one. I saved these just because I do lots of stamping and I don't know, reduce, reuse, respect the earth. That's kind of my mantra. So yeah, even if there's like a little bit of stamping on them, I will bring them back. I like to have nice clean ones for people to sit down at because you never know who's been sitting there before and if it matters. But myself, I will reuse and flip and turn and fold until it has been used to the most it can be. So I'm going to put, okay, so we're putting a strip of, I'm going to do it the way the instructions say, shockingly. We're putting a strip there. Oh, see now, I have all my stuff spread out, and I have buried my embellishments and my dimensionals and everything. Okay, and then we are going to put, oh, how about let's not put the dimensionals on before we stamp. You know, there's a pro tip for you. So we're actually, and these have a little trim. I don't know, can you see that in the video? I have to do I get the white paper out because I want to be able to like stamp off with my stamps, but I don't like to stamp white on white because I can't see the edges, so I like it on here. But you also see on the edge of this is like a nice little blue trim. So this is going to go on here, and then this is going to go over top. So let's get, you're in my thoughts, wishing you comfort and sending love. Wishing you comfort. These out, and like I said, it's a Night of Navy is the ink color that comes with it. So we're just gonna cheat and use our big stamp. The spots are great. If you watched last week's Tuesday live, I did all sorts of fun stuff with the spots and the refills that you get. And I have them all, and I love to play with them both. But sometimes, I'm just realizing now, sorry, sometimes I just like the convenience of just using that and keep the other one sealed up. So I was thinking I was putting Wishing You Comfort on this one, but I'm looking at the wrong picture because as soon as I'm just about ready to stamp, the swoop on the H and on the F are going right off of my label. Plus, I forgot to do my little smush thing to make sure I get a good thing. So we're just going to set that one aside because it does not actually fit on this label. And I'm going to pick the one that does. We'll use that on the next one. Sometimes the world is just looking out for you, right? It's just like, Tracy, don't do that because you forgot to smush first. So this time I will remember to smush. And this is just, there's some kind of little like film that gets on them sometimes in the manufacturing process. And this just takes it off so you get nice good ink and you get a nice clear thing. See, now that just fits perfectly. Look at that. When you do the right thing, isn't it funny how that works? So this one says, you're in my thoughts. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to set that off to the side, is I'm going to, oh my goodness, you know what? It actually shows it. I'm looking to see if I'm going to be stamping this anywhere else. It actually shows on the instructions. It never shows stamping on the envelopes and on the inside, but I was going to say I have leaves. So while I have the ink out for this card, I'm going to stamp the inside of the card with these leaves. And it actually shows on the one card to use this to stamp on the inside of the card. Now, here's my little tip I'm going to give you. Night of Navy is a beautiful color. It's also a dark color. And this is a fairly big chunk. So one of the things I like to do is if I'm using something bigger like this, because see how dark that's going to be when it goes in there, is I'm going to stamp off. First I'm going to do my little twisty thing. I'm going to stamp off so it's just a shadow of it. And I'm also, because I'm looking at those flowers and thinking, that's a pretty solid image, I'm going to put my little piece of foam. So this is the Pierce mat. It's about 3/8 inch thick foam. And the mat is actually twice this size. I just cut mine in half because it's much easier to, I think, to use. So stamping off, or sometimes called second generation stamping. I've totally inked up my stamp pad. And I'm just going to stamp on a piece of scratch paper, the first shot. And then I'm going to put the second one at a jaunty angle inside the card. And so I get the same navy color. I just get a lighter tone of it, so it's not so, right? So I like that. And I will probably do that on all of the insides. Just move this off to the side for now. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to tell you, because this is such a dark color, the dark colors sometimes just take longer to dry. So that's why I'm trying to do the stamping before the assemble, just to give it, it's not like it needs to sit there for 10 or 20 minutes. It just needs a second. But it also means that all the stamping I did on my sheet will very easily transfer to the white backs of the card, fronts, envelopes. So we're going to move, this is how I usually craft. Usually the sheet is just off to the side that I stamp on. Right now I have too much stuff spread out on my desk to do that, but that's usually what it is. But yeah, we're going to do that just to keep it. So now I'm just going to do a little trim job on here because we got little nubbins. Again, and I see them, so I trim them. Sometimes I don't trim them because I don't notice them, because sometimes they're not very obvious. But I figure if I notice them, then that means they need to be trimmed. So I don't know. I've already misplaced the bigger ones. This could work with the bigger ones too, but I don't know where I put them. They're underneath something. Okay, so this one, I'm trying to pick up without bending. I put the tear and tape on the back as per the instructions. And it's just going to go kind of in the middle of the big flowers. Just to make it straight. There we go. And then we're going to pop this guy over top. Oh, look how pretty that is. Look how pretty that is. And it gives us like just a little bit of the darker foliage coming out. It's gorgeous. And then, oops, I got the wrong tip on this one. Why do I have the wrong tip on this one, I wonder? I don't know. We'll just change it to the right one. And then we're going to put some of these little, I was looking to see where they put them, but who am I kidding? I'm just going to do whatever I want anyways. I just kind of like to have them, I like to be able to see them. On theirs it's not super obvious. Oh, I see where they put them now. I figure I'm putting the gems on. I want to see the gems. So I'm putting them in a bit, they have theirs closer to, and where it's a little bit darker. But look at how pretty that card is with those sparkly little gems. A gorgeous. It's a gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to take out my little chopping block. I'm going to cut these two card bases in half. And I'm basically just cutting the score line off. So when I use this other piece, I'll give it just a tiny little trim because it's still got the score line on it. And I'm going to cut this one in half at the same time because I got the thing out. Oh goodness, these are so pretty. Like I said, if you don't need if you're not making a bunch of cards, I have a bunch of people who are going to be loving this kit, so I'm just going to try to extend it a little bit. Then just use them as they are, and somebody just gets a card that is pretty on the front and the back. But if you want to extend your kit and make it go farther, lots of times the card bases can be split, and then you get two cards out of it. So because I did that, I have my little white card base. I'm going to line up my ends. I'm trying to line up the ends on the dark part because it's easier to see. But then I know if I don't do it right, I'm going to be off the edge of the... This little silicone mat and my glass mat together is my standard crafting space. And it gives me the options of, do I need it for the adhesive to not stick? Do I want to write on something? Do I want to be able to see white without a white background? Like, the combination of the two is just the perfect setup, if you ask me. Okay, so there's my front piece. And this is just going to go right directly over it. It's going to cover the whole thing, so it's going to look the same as the card is intended. And then when you open it up, it's black on the inside. Or white on the inside, so that works too. Now, you could do tear and tape with this, but since I have a seal sitting right here, that's what I'm going to use. And you know, I see lots of people and they'll just put like little tick, 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 couple little ticks across. But when I'm using, I don't know why, but when I'm using the seal, I outline. I do the entire outside. I don't want any little gaps or puckers or anything. And then I'm going to try really hard, because yesterday when I did this, I put it on crooked, to not set the whole thing down until I can see that I've got it lined up. There we go. Ta-da! Plus, I also get the benefit of having it the way it's folded the way I like. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm just going to bring my little piece of paper over like I like to. I'm going to ink up the stamp, stamp it off, and stamp the inside so it has a chance to dry. Even though it is only like half strength, I still want it to have a chance to dry while we're making the rest of the card. And then this is the one. You don't need the foam. I find you don't need the foam when you're doing the sentiments, unless the sentiment is like, I'm trying to think what stamp set, More Wishes I think it was called, where it was like big thick chunky letters. When it's just little fine line, look at this, I got every stamp going now. When it's just the little fine like line art or thin font, they work just fine without the foam. But if you have solid, like these leaves are mostly solid, then you want to put the foam underneath. Give it a couple little stamps just to tune it up. And then I can tell because my paper's here that the edge of my thing is right there. Make sure you don't stamp half on one and half on the other, because you will curse and swear. I say that from experience. Stamp that off a little so it's not so dark. And then I can move my piece of paper out of my way again so I don't foul anything. Okay. So now on my card base, and see, that's enough. Like, I don't need a ton of time for the base to dry. I'm going to pop this guy on, which I'm going to think, I'm trying to show you the way they do it, even though I rarely follow the instructions. And honestly, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want, because it's your card. Oh, I see, and I had it backwards this time. I was going to say pop this up and put this on with the tape, but it's the other way around, which I will show you is why. Oh, look, here's the thing too. Like I said, it's your choice to make. Look at how pretty that is with the white side too. But then the only difference there is if you put this over top of the white, it doesn't jump out as much. Whereas you put it like this, I'm trying not to bend the things here. And then you put this on it and it just jumps even more. But this is why they gave us a special, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. A special roll of tear and tape. Because you see this tear and tape is wider than this border, whereas this thin little tear and tape is the perfect size. Just got to find the edge. So we don't need tear and tape like every inch of this. I would, but this is very delicate, which means, like with the cutouts of it, it means that when I go to lay it down, it's going to be very easy to bend and like pull sideways, which I don't want to. So I want enough tape that it's going to hold it down nice, but not so much that everything grabs and I have no way to adjust it without tearing it, because I don't want to put it crooked. And so this will give me, this will hold, but it won't hamper my lining up. So yeah, I've got the corners and the sides, and that will be plenty to hold it in place. You could also use white glue if you wanted, if you're more of a white glue person, and white glue gives you a couple seconds of being able to push it side to side and place it the way you want. So if you have the Tombow white glue, that would work as well. If you and that's the beauty of the silicone mat, right? If you do it on top of that, if the glue goes where it's not supposed to, this is easy just to wipe off with a chamois, wet cloth, whatever you got. Okay, so before you go to lay this down, make sure you have it right side up. That would be a bummer. So this is going to go 1/8 of an inch in, maybe a 1/16 of an inch in on either side. So I'm going to lay up the bottom and the two sides And I'm trying, this is what I said, I'm trying not to put the whole thing down before I have a chance to adjust. In this case, I could tell I was a little too far low on that one. I start in the bottom because I find you notice if something's crooked at the bottom more than if it's crooked at the top. I also would recommend not sticking your finger right where the tape is, because once you get everything lined up, you pull it crooked, just try to get your finger off the back. There we go. Oh, look how pretty that is. Pretty. So even that, if you just did that and put this on, oh, it's very pretty. And then this one, we're actually going to pop up with some dimensionals. And then our sentiment tape go. We're just going to put a little bit of tear and tape on the back because we're going to put it over top. And there's as much as I love dimensionals, there is a limit to how many dimensions you want to put on something before you end up paying $10 to mail it, or you make it so it doesn't fit in the envelope. Done that before too. Okay, so we're going to pop the backs off of these. I have ink on my finger. I'm not sure when I stuck my pinky in, but I did. I'm looking at the card thinking, which way do they have this going? When in actuality, I'm going to do whatever I want anyway, so it's more like, which way do I like? Just make sure that when you put this down, you make sure that this is not like this, because then this won't go in the envelope. I just like it like that. And then, so the way they show in the sample, they have just a piece, like I said, a piece of tear and tape on the back of this, and they just have it stuck here. I kind of like the idea of having it over here though, so you see more of the flower. So in that case, this is going to be half on here and half off. So I do actually want to add a dimensional to this side. Otherwise this is going to be like slanted, and the glue's going to stick and it's going to be all chunky looking. But I'm sorry, Stampin' Up, I like mine over here better. So that's where I'm putting mine. The other thing I meant to show you, or mention again, because they don't always have embellishments, but when they do, I'm always like, how many did they give me? How many going to use? But on the instructions when it shows, so it shows this card has, this is going on top of the base, and here's the sentiment you stamp, and put dimensionals on the back of this, but down here it will show you get 3 little gems. This one gets 3 little gems. The other one also had 3 on it. So now you know how many you get to have. And then sometimes I don't see them. Sometimes I don't look, but usually if you look at their sample, I'm just going to find them first. This is like Where's Waldo? Oh, there we go. So in their sample, they have 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there. So I know some people struggle with where to put the gems. I can't put mine exactly where they showed me because I put the label in a different spot. But if you struggle with it, just go with what the artisans at Stampin' Up did. See, I want to put this somewhere where they can be seen, right? And I like 2 gems in one place, 1 gem in another place. I like things in 3s. So I like triangles so much. I'm not really sure if that's a normal thing or not. But I know odd numbers are more appealing to the eye. But yeah, if you struggle with where to put gems and stuff, just look in the instructions and follow what they did. Look at how pretty this card is. Holy cow. That's gorgeous. Okay, what did I do with my other envelope? Let me move a few more things as I go to, there we go. Because I know by the time I'm done the 3rd card, I'm going to have everything buried again. Put that there and that there. And then we're on our last card. I never look when I start what time it is to, I could just craft for so long that I tend to lose track of time. Hence the reason I had a 2-hour video about punches one day. Okay, so this is our card. And if you are following along in the instructions, you will notice it shows this as the front of the card and this is the back. And they're just kind of mirror images of each other. So I don't think it matters which one you put on the front either way. I mean, one's going to go one way. This is the one that I still haven't trimmed. It's still got the score line on it. So this is it. So you will notice if you look at the instructions, they're using the other half. It's not going to make a difference, but just so you're noticing. And because I trimmed this one first, I trimmed it a little bit short. Maybe I will just use this one and trim it so it looks like the sample. So that one I'm actually going to trim down a little bit more, and I'm going to have just a nice little white border, or I'm going to put it on a navy. One never knows. The ones that I don't finish, that I'm just trying to make the 3 from the kit kind of thing. The ones I don't finish, I always do afterwards. And one never knows what I'm doing until I actually start. There we go. I will show you, oh, I could have done that with the other one. I will show you another trick. Let's see how I cut this one. If not, I'll go back to the original one. Okay, so this one's the same. So I cut this one and it's just a tiny little bit shy of what it's supposed to be. So here's what we're going to do. Because a standard card base, this is again how to make the most of your supplies. Nothing is ever wasted in crafting. Anything is just a chance to embellish or change or show a little of your own flair. So I just, because of the way I cut too much when I cut. I should have cut like right down the middle of the crease, but I cut a little to one side. So now by cutting the score line off the other one, I've made both of them a little bit short. So here's what I'm going to do. This is the fold, right? So I'm picking the top corner. So I'm picking two sides to make sure that they are exactly where I want them. There we go. So what you can see is I have, like on this one I have, I don't even know if it's like 1/32 of an inch. And this one, probably because I cut the card base slightly crooked, you can see just the tiniest little bit. So here's the thing. And I will use this one because I got to get one side that doesn't have is too big. Nobody is ever going to notice if your card is 1/32 shorter than what it was intended to be. So I'm going to put that on first, and I'm going to line it up, and I'm just going to trim it. And in this case, I went twice because I'm cutting through two layers, right? I'm going through the back as well. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on this side just because my card's just slightly crooked. So we're talking, like I said, a minuscule amount. Make sure you have a nice sharp blade on your trimmer and you're good to go. It's a minuscule amount that I'm taking off. It's going to fit in the envelope. It's not going to screw up the design. And like I said, nobody is ever going to notice. And if you get a little bit of a rougher edge, just between two, I don't even have any fingernails, but between two fingernails, you can just kind of run down like this, and you'll get rid of that little bit of edge that you get when you cut through two pieces of paper at once. You can do it on the bottom. Also, if you have like a little nail file or a sanding block, if anything's a little rough, you can also take it off that way. Okay. So then, this one has this guy as the background with my tear and tape. Keep losing the edge of the tear and tape. Put a little piece there. I keep grabbing the big tear and tape because I'm so used to it. Again, I was going to do it again. This one we want to stamp before we put the dimensionals on. And this is the one that I got ready to begin with. This is the one that says, wishing you comfort. So this is the bigger label that this stamp actually fits in. Oh, and it just fits. Although, because it's very pretty font, but because it's so scrolly and loopy, like we got the long F and the high H, and then we got the big swoops and the big swoops. It fits beautifully in there. It just fits. So before I just automatically flip this over, I'm gonna let that dry a second so I don't smudge it. I forgot I hadn't done the inside of this one, and we're gonna go with the same again. I'm going to do this just because I like to live on the edge and show you, see if it makes a difference. Sometimes when I'm trying to prove a point of why you should do something a certain way, it never works. In this case, I'm just, because you don't have if you don't have the little foam thing, I'm just holding it down a bit longer, like putting a little pressure on it and holding it down a bit longer. There you go. And it worked just fine. So quicker, faster, guaranteed stamping, I guess, would be well, as guaranteed as stamping ever is, would be the foam mat. If you don't have a foam mat, and it's just because rubber stamps have that layer of foam on them, photopolymer don't, so they don't have that same push. So if you, anything on your table that will give it, the silicone mat gives it a bit of push. I don't know what else you could have, just anything, it doesn't have to be that particular foam mat, just something that gives it a little bit of compression when you go to stamp. And then this dude going to go. Sorry, I made a big mess there. I'm trying to look which way they have this. Oh, okay, I see. They have it, the two bottom pieces are coming out underneath this. And then, oh, this one, I got it backwards. This is stuck to this, I should say. But there's a very flat edge right there on this. I don't know if you can see that. So you want to make sure that the flat edge lines up. Second, as soon as I went to do that, I noticed the little nubbins. I got to do a little shaving. I know I've told you this before, but just make sure your scissors are parallel, like the blade is tight up parallel with the side, and you won't take gouges out of your label. Okay, so what they're showing is to put this so that that straight edge lines up with the bottom of your label, and then you get a nice amount of stuff sticking out. Because if you go too high, then you're just gonna have this little flat end. And then they put the dimensionals on. Oh, you know what else I'm going to show you? I'm in the whole, you want to extend your kit, you want to make your kit look different thing. Okay, so I did stick this down, but I'm going to guess that I can still pull it apart. And I'm pulling on the part that doesn't matter, because this is the part that's going to be behind. So let me show you another little trick. I also love that sometimes if you're lucky, the tear and tape peels off like nothing. But even if it didn't, I'm just going to use my adhesive scissors. So I noticed when I put this on that my one piece, my one white piece is not sticking out very far. Now you don't want to cut straight up the middle because then you'll wreck your top piece. But I want to be able to see more of the stuff that's coming out the bottom. So I just cut at an angle. And okay, so this was the original bottom piece. So I'm going to do it like this. So it's in the center. Just need to do a tiny little trim where there's no, I have that one little point coming out. There we go. So I'm going to put this in the center, and I'm going to add that on there. And then this guy, instead of being buried, again, cut my nails. I usually have no problem, and I could just use the pick that's sitting right there, but no. I usually have no problem getting this out. But now, I can just go like this, and I can put it wherever I want because it's not attached. So now I have a bit more coming out the bottom. So that just gives me a bit more white. And then, I'm just going to put little dimensionals on the back. I don't actually know. I think they put their 4 in like a square right in the middle, but I like them closer to the edge. So I'm showing you how to be a rebel crafter. Don't follow the instructions. Follow your heart. Go where you want to go. And then this was just in the other one. Oh, maybe I do have the right. Oh no, I changed. I was going to say in the other one it was showing this is what they were showing, and the leaves were kind of covered. So but I forgot I changed sides. So this is just kind of over here somewhere. Could you put it higher? Probably. I kind of like it where they had it. So I'm just going to put that down there. And then once again, we got 3 embellishments. And once again, I can see 2. Again, it's such a fun game. This is what you just make it fun for yourself, right? I see 2 right there. They're really obvious. Oh, there's the third one over there. So you choose where you want to put them. I kind of like them in the dark blue over here. I think I'm going to put them a little farther over here, though. They have theirs. So theirs are like right there, there, and there. Well, theirs is down in the white, but I think I'm just going to put mine here. Because it's just that little bit of shiny in the blue. Dun, dun, dun. Anyways, those are 3 pretty cards. So as not to make this video 10 hours long, as I tend to keep making my videos very long. Because again, I could play and craft all day long. Whew, love it. Just got to stall long enough to grab the instructions again, because I forgot the name of the kit. The kit is called Beautiful Blues, and yes, it is beautiful. Close my ink pad before I stick my hand in it. You always stick your hand right when you're done everything and everything has worked out. That's Murphy's Law, right? So look at those 3 gorgeous cards. Beautiful blues they are. All right, I will have the last of the new May kits tomorrow. I want to say it's called Sharing Smiles, but I wouldn't guarantee that. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.